Guys, Emily from Autofy. Wanting to talk to you today about the Status Center. Now, most of you may have one workflow that you are utilizing to sync your data. Some of you may have two or more. And the Status Center is a really great way to be able to see which records have successfully synced, which ones failed, which ones filtered out, why did they fail, why did they filter out, and to also reprocess records from your Status Center without having to run a full sync over again. So we're going to go over here to Status Center, and you can see I have several different workflows in my Autofy account. And in your Status Center right here, it's going to show you everything for the last week. We can see that in the last week for this particular workflow, I've synced 12 records. It's showing me what I tried to sync here. It's also showing me whether it was successful, which workflow, and the last time there was activity on that record. Up here at the top, you have some different filters. So you've got your status filter. From here, you can pick and choose which statuses you want to filter by. So if I wanted to see everything in this particular workflow that errored out, I can select error and it's going to show me what errored out. Now when I click on that, it's going to tell me what the error is. Why did this error out, which we'll get into in a little bit. I can search for anything that was filtered out for this particular workflow. When I click on that record, it's going to tell me why this filtered out. Okay, this one didn't exist in Salesforce, and that's why. I can also filter to a specific workflow. So if I want to see which items filtered out on this specific workflow that I was running, I can do that. I can see everything that errored out, what was successful, what had a warning. I can see all those details here as well. If I want to search by a specific date range, I have that option. When you click on this calendar right here, this date range, you can see anything that's synced today. If I want to see what was successful on this specific workflow yesterday, I can filter to yesterday, and it's also going to include essentially the last 24 hours. If I wanted to see the last 30 days, I can filter that way too. And you can do this by month, you can do it by custom range, and we do let you go back as far as 2 months to see what syncs within the last 2 months. You basically just go as far back as Autofy will let you, which is 2 months, which for me right here is the 18th, all the way until today. So you will see where you cannot select a date. So there is a 2-month limit here. And then depending on the number of records that you're syncing, you do want to give it a second to update. You also have the ability to search by the name of the record. So let me make this, give us a little more to work with here. And if I'm searching for everything that has spruce in the title, I can just hit enter, I can hit go, and it's only going to return the records that have the word spruce in them. Now if I'm looking at a different workflow here, let's see my Salesforce QuickBooks workflow. I did run that recently. So let's go back to our Status Center and filter just to that. As you can see, I have more records in this particular sync. If I wanted to look for the past 30 days, it's going to show me that information. And of course, I can look for the past 2 months. We do limit your view to 50 records per page. So just keep that in mind. We do show you how many records. So if I go through my different ones over the last few months, it's going to show me all those records. So we will see 50 records per page. If you do have more than 50 records that's synced, you will see page numbers down at the bottom, which will allow you to go further to see additional records. Now, some common error messages that you're going to see in here is that we didn't find this record in Salesforce or QuickBooks, and that's due to settings that you have on your workflows. But you can click on each record to see why this filtered out. So this gray dot means that it filtered out. It's not an error. It just means that it did not meet our parameters that we have set up on our particular step. And this particular record was going from our QuickBooks to Salesforce customer to account sync. And we can see that it filtered out because it does not exist in Salesforce. So maybe what I want to do is reprocess that. I don't have to go look up this particular ID or this name or go back to my actual workflow. I can select this record and click on reprocess. And that's going to allow us to reprocess just this one record to see if it will sync over to Salesforce. And the really good thing about this is that you're not gonna have to run a full sync in order for this particular record to get picked up. You're gonna be able to run just a sync for this particular record, which is really gonna help save your API calls if you are syncing with Salesforce. Now it's still filtered out because it still does not exist in Salesforce, and that's easy. I can go remove that particular setting from that step on my workflow. And then here, I can see right here, I've got a different error. And what does this particular error mean? Usually this cannot merge list elements error is telling us that we have probably deleted this record in QuickBooks. When that happens, you might see an invalid cross-reference ID. You're just going to want to reach out to our support team so we can clear that record matching for you. And you can send that email to support@getautofy.com. Once we clear that out for you, then you are able to reprocess this record. And then what's also kind of cool is you can see how many times this has been syncing recently. We do keep track of the last 3 times that it was included in a sync. What's especially helpful is when you're running a sync on a transaction to be able to see where in the process the sync failed, because we do show you we're looking for the customer or the account, depending which way we're syncing, and then we're looking for items and that we're able to find them or we're unable to find them. So you're able to see all this information within the Status Center. If you guys have questions about how the Status Center works, please reach out to us at support@getautofy.com. Otherwise, make sure that you guys click on that subscribe button down below so that way you'll be notified of any new videos that we post.